May grace and peace be yours in abundance. The purpose of this video is to help our hosts prepare for the small group in-home worship experiences that will be hosted in their homes. If you're watching this, then I think it is likely you've decided, or at least considered, to host an in-home small group worship experience. So I'd like to thank you for helping us take these first small steps toward regathering as the full congregation. And I'd like to offer a few thoughts on why this work in which you are helping is so very important before I offer some particular assistance in helping you to prepare. It is important because, well, these initial steps are essential to our process, just as a child learning to walk has first steps, or a patient in rehab makes their initial attempts to recover after a trauma. We have suffered a trauma, and while we did know how to walk before the pandemic, walking in the midst of the pandemic with half our state's residents still unvaccinated, that's another skill set entirely. First steps are important, and often they're not pretty. And just getting onto our feet may be difficult, and trying to take first steps may have us falling as much or more than succeeding. Paul wrote in chapter 5 of his letter to the Galatians, "You were running well. Who hindered you? Who tripped you up? Who interfered? Who caused you to stumble and fall?" Well, we know what happened this last year plus. But rest assured, with determination and with the help of others, we will learn to walk in this new situation, and then we'll learn to run. And running may be flat-footed at first before we learn how to sprint. Then, gathering strength and skill, we will go on to other things. Short, fast sprints, relay races, hurdles, even marathons. Small groups are somewhat self-selecting. People who are already comfortable with each other are the core of such groups. Deciding what and how you will do things together in your small group will be much easier than getting all these small groups together in a large group meeting again. Now, we're convening some meetings to strategize for our eventual regather, to re-enter well. But these small group in-home meetings are a part of our process, a next step in our journey. Thank you for being part of it. We will face a similar process of learning to walk before we learn to run as a larger group. Again, perseverance and patient endurance, along with a willingness to work through our setbacks and begin again, these are key. Now, to equip you, to help you do things well as a small group host, there are a few things you will want to do for each meeting. And there are some special things to do for some of the special meetings. In advance, for every meeting, you'll want to make sure the setting will be comfortable for everyone, where everyone will be able to see the television or monitor or screen where any videos may be displayed. Then consult with your group. Decide if your group is going to participate in sharing fellowship over food. While a treasured part of our traditional gatherings, this is a risk activity for those who are unvaccinated still. And in a similar way, make wise decisions about how you'll do music with your group. Will you just listen, or will you sing with the music? Again, singing is a risk activity for the unvaccinated. Choose wisely, as appropriate for your small group. Again, you might want to consider whether there are musicians in your group, and are instruments available for live music, or will you use recorded music, whether from our channel uploads, or from other YouTube videos, or from other sources like CDs. Be ready for those music choices at the appropriate times in the liturgy. You'll want to download the bulletin from the Clarksburg United Methodist Church website. Carefully read it through. Decide which parts you're going to use and which you will modify. This bulletin is a tool, something to facilitate your worship, not a hard cast to constrain it as if we were constraining a broken bone. It's a tool. Now, for example, your group might prefer extemporaneous prayers to some of the printed prayers in the liturgy. That is good too. Do what's best for your group. Decide whether you will want multiple copies of the liturgy or whether you'll just use one and pass it from person to person. Again, for the vaccinated, this is not risky, But for the unvaccinated, though the risk of transmission in this way is small, it is a higher risk activity. Small, but still a higher risk activity. Then, decide which, if any, of the YouTube videos that are in this week's playlist are going to be used during your gathering. Knowing what is there and knowing ahead of time what you will use will make things flow more smoothly for you during your time of worship. When you're gathering, as you gather, begin delegating portions of the liturgy to the other participants, and begin at the appointed time. I've suggested 9 o'clock, but you could meet earlier if you wish. Now I'm suggesting earlier, not later, so that you will have adequate time and so that you can join the live stream at 9:30. This week, if you are joining the live stream at 9:30, there will be at the end of it an opportunity to share in Holy Communion. That portion will not be available as a recording later. Theologians and teachers of the Church have instructed us that recording liturgy for virtual communion is really bad theology. So this is something we will do together live. And thus, you will want on hand the fruit of the vine. A United Methodist tradition is unfermented, grape juice. And you will want bread, challah loaves or brioche rolls or bagels. Could be good options. Some might elect to use crackers. I would use a plain soda cracker if that is your choice, but any of these are good options. But avoid things like raisin bread, and avoid cutting up in advance cubes of any kind of sliced bread. That is inconsistent with our liturgy. Having the bread broken or torn during the Great Thanksgiving is part of the liturgy. Now, I'm not sure what other assistance you might desire. Does the 9:30 time slot work for your group, or would another time be better? You need to let me know. I can make some adjustments, though I suspect I cannot please everyone at once. One possibility might be for me to do this as a live stream twice, different times, maybe a morning and an evening option. Let me know what would work best for your group. And now, what questions do you have? How can I best assist? How can I equip you for the best possible success of your group? Send me a note or call me. I would love to help. Again, and I cannot say this with enough emphasis, thank you for this important work that you are doing for our congregation. And I'll see you on Sunday.